to Go Rangers Radio, where the New York Rangers are always the talk of the town. If you bleed red, white, and Rangers blue, hail the king, follow the bread man, and know how to spell Capo Caco, then you've tuned to the right place. And now, here are your handsome hosts, Kevin DeLury and Paul Cuthbert. They're not always going to get it right, but you can be damn sure they'll pretend they are. Now, let's go Rangers Radio.
Paul Cuthbert, everybody, please say hello to your friend of mine, Mr. Kevin DeLury. Hey, D, how you be?
Good, man, good. It's good to be back. Glad we are back after a little hiatus, a little coronavirus hiatus. And it's good to be talking to you, my friend.
I miss you, buddy. I miss you, man. Everybody okay over there at the DeLury house? Yeah, you guys okay?
I'm going to be honest, Paulie, it's exactly the same as from the last time we had our show. Whenever, what was that, a month ago? So, nothing really changing over here.
Pretty
Movies, games, social distancing, I don't know.
Well, buddy, yeah, I honestly didn't think me and you were going to be talking for a long time. And, you know, the NHL comes out there yesterday, and there was rumors about this. And it's still a long ways out as far as they actually get this thing going. I mean, if you read ESPN's column today with Donald Fear from the Players Union, he's still not totally convinced this is really going to happen. But anyway, a little excitement there yesterday, the tournament. Maybe we'll get some hockey in the summertime. What was your feeling there when the announcements was made yesterday?
Well, yeah, well, first of all, I want to apologize to everybody for the show shutting down. Paulie did want to keep going. I will have to say that. And it was me. I was the one who, Paulie said, what do you think? What should we be doing? And I definitely said we should put it on the shelf for a little while. And, you know, I did enjoy the shows that we were doing, Paulie, during the sort of, you know, hold off with the league, the sort of stoppage. I enjoyed the stories of us going to the road trips and us being in the same place at the same time and our hockey background, which is fun. But I don't know. I feel like it would be such a stretch to have like kept going. And I sort of joked on Twitter saying like, you know, I'd rather not do a show about my top 10 Ranger defensemen from 1982 because I thought it would get to that point where it was just we were sort of grasping at straws. So just wanted to give everybody sort of a little background and why we sort of shut down for a month or so. Is that how long has it been? Like a month? Probably like a month. So,
yeah,
you know, but to answer your actual question,
I know. I have my sources that you went and auditioned for other podcasts. So
That's right. Actually, I went to see if I could get on Call Her Daddy. So, you know, I saw there was a whole big thing going on with Call Her Daddy. So I tried to get on there with Alex. But Dave Portnoy sort of shot me down. So I'm back with you, Paulie. So back together again. I was definitely shopping myself. But in any event. But, yeah, I mean, look, exciting news. It's something, you know, we all, I mean, at least for myself, needed. You're sort of seeing a little bit of it come back. We had NASCAR come back, and they had a couple of golf events, the Mickelson, Tiger, Manning, Brady event on Sunday match, which was great to watch. Just something new. It wasn't a replay of an old event. So, you figure it was only a matter of time before you saw a major sporting event, and for it to be hockey, you know, our favorite sport is sort of icing on the cake. And like you mentioned, there's still a ways to go. I mean, you know, the NHL laid this out there and outlined what, you know, they'd like to see happen, but it's far from being a done deal, which makes it even a little bit surprising that they would go ahead with that announcement if they're not, you know, at a point of 100% sure that, you know, they have, you know, the agreement from the players union and everything else in place. And look, the virus can take a turn and everything can be shut down anyway. But not have it what seems like, everybody within the league backing it is sort of surprising that they would go ahead with that announcement.
Well, they went ahead and did it one way or the other, whether it's ultimately going to be a part of a PR thing. I mean, just to kind of keep the fans going, or maybe they can have a saving grace towards the end there if it doesn't pan out, if it doesn't work out, they can say, hey, we tried, and now, this is it.
No, you're right. I mean, from a publicity standpoint, I mean, Bettman's pretty smart in getting the NHL out there as the first major sport. That's to this point of actually having an outline of what they want to do. So, the NHL sort of has had all the headlines, the last 2 days, which is smart. And they're going to get all the praise or the criticism and whatnot. But look, hockey's being talked about. It's obviously of the top sports, the top four. It's obviously the last of it. It's even below other, fringe sports out there. Maybe fringe is a bad word, but golf and tennis and those kind of things. Yeah, some of the hockey ratings are even below that. But it's probably is a smart move to get it out there. I mean, look, it got us doing our podcast again, so I guess it was a smart move, right?
Well, that's what I have to admit. I actually sent a letter to Gary Bettman selfishly because I miss you. And I was talking to you, and I knew you weren't going to come back unless there was some sort of announcement.
You heard that I was talking about call her daddy, and yeah, I get it. I know how it goes. You got jealous. It did, and just so everyone knows, it didn't lead to a raise for me at all. But I am back.
I have to get you back on air first, buddy.
That's right. Oh,
Work,
nice. All right.
Well, I mean, here we go. I mean, if anything, I think everybody's, again, during these times, we wish everybody, health and sanity, and hopefully everybody's making, it the best way they can. This thing is affecting everybody differently, some worse than others. A lot of us, I would say majority of us here in New York, like I said, we're doing okay now, and we're waiting, and we're slowly reopening here. And I think the numbers are looking good, and then the timing with this happening, and then, even the governor there about a week or so ago, whatever it was, just saying, telling the teams open up training camps. I mean, anything like that for fans to kind of get excited about something is good, and even if we do talk about this, and for the rest of June, and if, we see what happens and watch the progression of this, whether or not, the upcoming meetings, and, I would advise everybody to read that ESPN column today with Donald Fear, because it really it takes it to a deeper level in terms of the stages that they have to get to. Now, and Katie, I don't blame the NHL. You got to start somewhere, right? I give them all the credit in the world to sit there and try and figure this out and try and come up with something where if it all opens up and they get the green light and the players agree and you're talking, in a month, 2 months, with the numbers getting better, at least up, in most of the areas that we're living here right now. I mean, if they improve, and 2 to 3 weeks to a month is going to be a lot of time to kind of see all these slow reopenings that are happening across the country here, and if there's any movement going backwards as far as cases going up. So, I feel you got to give them credit to get this rolling, because we're all, if we stay positive and this thing does kind of turn around and we can start doing this, and even if these guys play in one city and they do a tournament, and I can't wait to get into about this just in terms of how this is going to be played out or whatever. But just in general, I give them credit for putting this together, making the announcement yesterday. Donald Fear was down to earth today, saying he can't promise everything. But like I said, I think all of us can sit back and say, well, good, at least let's get this rolling. Let's talk about it. Let's get excited about it. And if it works out, great. And if it doesn't, unfortunately, it's going to be for the right reasons, that it's for the safety of everybody.
Yeah. Look, you got to get the conversation started. So that's what they did. And so you go from there. Look, you don't always have praise for Gary Bettman, but, he's sort of stuck his neck out there. Look, first one out there, first one to be criticized. But, they also show maybe an outline for the other leagues, the NBA,
Absolutely.
if they decide to come back as well. Because I really like the format that they've put together. I think it's a smart format. Scrap the rest of the regular season, which is probably the right way to go. Tell the 7 teams that had no chance. Sorry, don't even bother coming back. So now you have less teams, less players involved, which is good as far as the virus goes, and not having as many trainers and families or however they're going to put it together, which is good. And then you want to give the teams like the Rangers, who were only 2 points out with a month to play, the chance to get into that first round with these with this play-in round. And I love the concept. I'm a big fan of it. I think that they've gotten it right here, and I'm really excited. If they are able to get this going for this first round, I mean, it just adds a little bit more. Look, hockey is all about the playoffs. I mean, we're diehard, so we like everything about hockey, but really the true season is the postseason. And that's when hockey goes from just like the diehard fans to, the casual fans once the playoff starts. And now you get another round of it, which is awesome. I'm excited. It's great that the Rangers are involved. And look, they are a team, and you're seeing the Carolina organization take a little bit of criticism here, or a little bit of flack, I guess, for voting against the plan, and everyone saying it's because they would have played the Rangers, who are a dangerous team. I mean, a young team with nothing to lose. So, nobody wants to play a team like that. So I'm excited, hopefully, to get this thing rolling.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, again, going back, like I look at it this way. I love the World Cup of hockey. We all watch the juniors, at least most of us do. When it's been on, we've watched the Olympics. So this tournament, this format with all the teams it's great. And as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter how they get there. And I think how they did lay it out in terms of the top 8 teams, just playing for reseeding. They gave everybody the division championships. So that's all good stuff. The awards are going out. I mean, like I said, what was it? March 11th was the final day. So, all of us diehard hockey fans know that, that was pretty much it. There's a little bit of shifting. I think with what they had, where the season ended, had this been back in January or something, and again, that's a hearsay there, because you could say, well, who knows, maybe the return would have been pushed up anyway. But as far as, where the season ended up, where they can kind of, they can at least close out a couple of things that they usually normally do as far as the regular season records and the awards. They can give the division stuff away, the points leaders, everything else. That's all good stuff. You roll into this tournament. A couple of teams were on the bubble. They may or may not have made the playoffs. So, those extra, 8 teams that get in is fun stuff, because that kind of lets them feel pretty good where they weren't just cleaned out. And obviously the teams that are not making the benefits one way or the other with the draft. And again, I think you're right. Like I said, they're fine. They probably weren't going to be into coming back and playing for nothing anyway. So this is going to be fun. I mean, I really do hope we get to see it through the end, because it'll be multiple good things going on. That'll mean, hopefully we're all trending towards getting back to normalcy, because they'll be able to pull all this stuff off and get it going. And I think once the games get played and get going, I think it's just going to be a blast. I mean, this is just going to be fast, impact, hockey. I mean, granted, these guys are going to need, obviously, a good 3 weeks, who knows, maybe 4 weeks of training camp. And it seems that most of these guys have been, on the ice anyway. And I'm sure, we don't know publicly, I'm sure this plan was probably in place maybe a month ago, that they were talking about this and letting everybody know to start getting ready. And I'm sure they've already been checked in. I mean, there hasn't been too many reports, KD, about any players that I know that have reported, I'm talking about like, from NBA now, or recently from any of the NHL, any of the major sports, football, baseball, nobody really testing positive, nobody having the virus, nothing in huge numbers, if anything, if only small numbers. So I think because everybody's been kind of, contained and healthy, and if they can kind of control it this way, this thing is probably going to lead to end up happening, which I really hope it does. And again, we're all used